So here's a Dell Optiplex I picked up a while ago from an e-waste bin. I haven't really had much experience at all with old Dells and stuff. Basically any Dell systems, or most PC systems. I've worked with quite a few Macs and custom PCs though. And this is kind of new to me, how these things all set up. And I'm going to configure this as like a little, maybe a file server, probably run some game servers on it too. Might convince myself to mess around with web servers and stuff, maybe a mail server. I don't know, kind of like a mess around server mainly. So let's crack this guy open and show what's inside. So I picked this up from an e-waste bin, and the person was smart and they stripped their drives like you always should before getting rid of a computer. So there's no drives or RAM, because RAM's actually kind of useful. So this is my old Seagate, which is actually stripped from another e-waste bin thing. Here, this RAM was also stripped from another e-waste bin find. What else? This also came from the same e-waste bin, just a different pile. It's a AMD 5450. I was storing it in there because it seems to be it wasn't using the back graphics on the back VGA port. So I threw that in. It's kind of working now. I got a Core 2 Duo E4500 in there, which isn't blazing fast, and I actually have bad camera work. This guy here laying around. This is a E7500, which came out of another system like this, but it's a big one, so I picked the small one. And how do I say this? If this little guy here, I'd want to use him because he's a good 50% faster, but I don't have any of the parts to use it. So let's pop off this heatsink and throw some thermal paste, because I've been using it for the last week or something with no thermal paste, and that's bad. Okay, so taking a look at the other parts in this rig, you can see there's the power delivery. It's a reasonable motherboard quality-wise and stuff. Here's to the RAM situation. I kind of have this stack right here of DDR2. This isn't all of it, but here's some of it. I kind of have a small pile. I'll get some more. Blah, blah, blah. It always takes forever. There's a bit of DDR2 laying around. Most of these are 512s, but I have a pair of 1 gigs, which work, because they worked in other systems. But this one doesn't seem to be happy with them, which is kind of annoying me, because if those 1 gigs worked, I'd get 3 gigs in here, which would be quite a bit. But they don't, so I'm stuck with a gig, which isn't fun. But it works and is kind of usable. So, yeah. I mean, I've tried like every RAM combo, and it like complains and won't turn on with any other RAM combo than these two 512s or one of them. So, there you go. I think under this heatsink is either the chipset or the onboard graphics. Graphics card, you can see I really haven't been dusting this. Floppy connector, ooh. The front fan, okay, so this is a mini BTX, or maybe full size, I don't know my BTX very well. So BTX works by having a front fan that intakes all the air onto the heatsink, and then everything else is passive, other than the power supply. The problem with that is, in the days, in this era, a little bit ago, most of the heat was made by the CPU. These days, less so. GPUs are getting hotter, and there's a lot of other heat sources. But when all your heat was made by the CPU, it made it run a few degrees cooler. But this thing can be a pain to get out. Come up. Got your little clip thing. No, you're out. How annoying. Here, check it around a bit. No, I'll get it out later. So I finally got that fan out. Here it is. You can see that's actually thicker than normal fan. And it's a fairly beefy fan, pretty high power, but it runs fairly quietly when using it. So that's actually pretty nice. Blows onto the heatsink, isn't perfectly sealed, so you see air coming out of the edges. More on this system, I've already talked about the RAM. Has a cool little board up here, and has cool little diagnostic LEDs that tells you what the problem is if it isn't booting, which is actually really handy. Back ports, yeah, let's look at it from the actual back. Can I get here? Kinda. Got 6 USB, audio, VGA, serial, and a parallel port. I threw in this 160 gig drive I had laying around, and I threw a copy of, what is that? Ubuntu Server 14.04 on it. Reasonable hunk of code. I'm fairly reasonable with the Linux command prompt, so I don't mind using it. And running like Samba shells and stuff on it. I'm gonna throw in, I think, let's see what I have. I'm gonna throw in this guy and see if it works. It says dead on it, but I think it just has some bad sectors. It was acting up on me a while ago. It has a few extra power connectors, not much though. Okay, here's the thing. I'm hoping I don't have to use this graphics card, because I have an extra RAID card laying around. And if I could, maybe one day I'll throw in a pile of drives and use this as another RAID, like, server. Because I can get Seagate, like, 3 teras for, like, I think $70 these days. And then at that price, I can throw together a few more terabytes of storage pretty cheaply. It also came with some interesting SATA cables. See this little blue guy here? It's kind of cool looking. It also came with this orange one. I've never seen them of this color. Most of the time, I have just like piles of the red ones, because that's what you get like from everything. They seem to just all come with hard drives, and yeah, that's kind of neat. It has 4 SATA ports, and also you see here, a lot of times motherboards have extra ports they don't use. Like sometimes on low-end boards, they won't include the PCI Express slots to try to keep you from buying the low-end boards and throwing a nice GPU in them and using it as like a gaming system or something. It's kind of annoying OEMs, but there you go. Another thing, I hope this is a regular power connector, but it might be a Dell priority one. Blah, I can't do English. But I know that Dell has a proprietary power connector that they have, and it's kind of annoying because it's basically the same layout, but it's slightly different. So it makes it not work with normal ones. And you can rewire them and get adapters, but these are old Dells and no one really cares about buying adapters for them because they're basically worthless these days. Like this system here is probably worth less than $20 if I didn't have a hard drive RAM in it, which is how I got it. So we can get them, they're worth pretty much nothing. And probably most of these guys, these were running XP Pro, because these are business systems. So this thing's a pain to get in. And since they're running XP Pro, they probably were filled with junk from a long time ago, and were just horribly slow. Let me get this fan in off camera, because I can't do it with one hand. There you go, I got my hands on some thermal paste. Let's see what this is. Arctic Silver 5. I don't know how good all my thermal paste are, but I don't get a lot of it normally. Blah, doing stuff with one hand kind of sucks. There you go, this is what I normally do, the little dot method. This stuff's kind of thick. That's probably enough. That's probably actually on the almost too much side. You don't really need much at all. And with this CPU, you need basically nothing, because, yeah, this guy doesn't run very hot. I mean, like, all these chips are rated for, like, 95 watts, it seems like, but they never use that much. Here, let's get this back in focus. I'm using a DSLR, so focus is always a pain. When it comes to mounting these, here's what you have to do. I'm doing this on camera. Okay, so these little clips here have to line up and go inside here on these. Wow, I'm doing this wrong. On here, like that. And then this thing just, hopefully nothing gets in the way, lowers down, you screw these 2 pieces in, you got your CPU. Then I'm going to fire it up, plug it into this monitor, and show you what it does. Okay, computer's now plugged into the monitor, let's turn them on. There you go, turns on quickly. I'm going to go into the not fast enough, okay. If I'm right... Oh, I didn't plug in the CPU fan. Oh, I'm dumb. I'm just gonna go into the BIOS. Yeah, I have a keyboard. Dell apparently does the BIOSes like they want, because they're Dell, and that's what they seem to like doing. Not much. You really can't change that much here. Yeah, it's not great. I'll exit it. And escape. Exit. It's running Ubuntu Server 14.04, which is amazingly lightweight. And only uses like less than 100 megs of RAM when you actually boot it into it. This panel isn't right. It's not a great monitor. But I don't know what you're doing, system. Are you booting? No. Okay. It says the drive activity light's on. I know the monitor works, and I know the keyboard works. Give me a second, I'll get into the OS and start this up again. Well, here we go again. What is that power button? Power button's hard to find by feeling it. I plugged in the CPU fan. What? Okay, now it's complaining that there was a fan failure in the past, which there was. Ubuntu, which it gives me the grub menu. I'm gonna pick Ubuntu. I should lock those down so you can't go straight into a root command prompt, because that's what recovery mode basically does, and that's kind of annoying. Looks like the screen's like showing something, but it's black and it just does that. There it goes, it's booting. 14.04, there's the boot logo. I'm gonna get a wee bit closer and actually pull focus some more. Here we go. That's the most boring boot logo in. Chug. I'll start this back up once I get in. So the system's booted. And this program here is called HTOP. It's actually a fairly reasonable command prompt level system monitor. Another thing it's not showing me here is it's not reporting that 1000 gig drive I plugged in. So either plugged it in wrong or it's a dead drive, like the code on it. It's connected to the internet via gigabit, as you can see on the switch. I've been having a problem with a lot of stuff connected via 100, not gigabit, which is annoying, because all of these but the very left one is gigabit capable. It's like this guy's been connected via gigabit, and when you have a file server not connected via gigabit, it annoys you. Which I'm going to be working on. Might try a different switch. I have another one lying around, I think. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get Cat 6 because these are Cat 5s here that I made. And it's not supposed to run on Cat 5s. It's supposed to run on Cat 6 or 5e. So there. Let's try running this guy without the graphics card because I really don't want to have to use this guy because I want to see if I can get like a RAID card in it. Hopefully. That'd be nice. Oh, that was a little bug. It says it shut down, but it can't, so it can't like actually kill the system. Can't turn the power off on the system, but it can basically kill other processes. So I just have to turn it off by pulling out the plug. And I totally forgot to turn on the camera when I was recording it, but it works fine with the internal graphics right here plugged into here. Monitor's running with the command prompt, blah blah blah. I can type it, it shows it up. Won't be using this graphics card, but I'll be using this RAID card in a bit. See if I can get into the web BIOS on it and connect a few extra drives in this guy and see if I can set up a RAID right, because I might actually do that if it works right. Okay, got the RAID card in here. It actually is a half-height card, but if I put a I have to put a little low profile bracket in to use it as a low height card. And I could probably bend this cable, yeah I can. So let's power it up and see if it goes. I plugged this random 3 terabyte I had lying around. And it's bad one. Oh, boots. It should give me an LSI menu next. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's cool. Control H lets me enter their so-called web BIOS. It says it's spinning a while on here. Well, let's wait it out and see what happens. No, it's probably waiting for this drive. Yeah, that's definitely spinning. Okay. And hit C to load the config utility. So there it goes. It does see the drive. It says it's gonna go into the web BIOS after the post finishes because it's not finished posting. This is kind of like a pre-post thingy. I'm just blabbing now. Nothing more to talk about. I'm waiting. These RAID cards always take forever. Oh, there we are. We're in. There you go. We're in. Shows the 1 terabyte unconfigured good drive. I need a mouse to use this. That's annoying. Let me get a mouse and I'll be back. Well, that's the problem about working with a system that doesn't normally have a GUI. You don't have a mouse laying around for it. So I'm in the web BIOS and I can go into drives, blah, and it shows me this drive here, which I plugged in. And yeah, let's go back. And I can go drives. Can I right click in here? I don't know. I think I can. Properties. Oh, this thing's kind of a pain to use in user interface. We're gonna say make a JBOD. Yeah, previous. Make JBOD. Camera work I know sucks. I should really get a tripod for this. Oh, this operation's not supported. Give me a minute and I'll get into JBOD. Okay, so using the fdisk command, here's the drive right here, so it's a 3000 gigabyte drive running on an LSI RAID controller. It shows us the 2 partitions that's on there. Both are NTFS because these are formatted on a Windows system. Don't really want to be using NTFS, but it works pretty well. And one of it's a 2 terabyte partition because when I first partitioned it, I used, I think, the MBR partition scheme instead of the GPT, which only lets up to 2 terabyte partitions. Which is something you have to remember when you're using 3 terabyte drives to set for. So I'm going to configure that as a share and see how fast I can crank files over the network using that. And in order to set up a share in this, I'm going to be using the Samba file sharing system. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to mount it. So sudo says u. I'm going to mount it, and the drive is /dev/sda1. So this is how the system identifies the drive. We're going to mount it to what are we going to call it? 2TB. We're just going to call it that for now. So right now it says an unclean file system because it came from Windows and they partitioned it slightly different than Unix-based systems, so it kind of has to fix it. Failed to mount, no sex. Okay, so I forgot to do that. I'm going to do sudo make directory /2TB. It made that, so now if we go cd/, we see that 2TB. This camera work is not great. Can I make it brighter at all? There you go. Sorry about that, I'm using a DSLR and this isn't great. There you go, 2TB's right here, monitor isn't fantastic. Can I focus this a bit better? Yeah, I can. The camera's too close though. Okay, so now that's there, so now if I go tell it to mount, mount it there, so if I go cd/2TB, there's all the drives there's all the files that are already on the drive. Right? Yeah, okay, because these are some other junk files, because this drive actually had an install of Windows 10 on it, because it was an old drive from that other file server, and then it had an install of Windows 10, which I put in there just to kind of throw more junk on it, and to get files off the server, and then I disabled it by getting rid of the Windows folder so it can't boot off of it. Now it's in now what you have to do is you have to go to sudo nano / I think etc samba /smb.con. I think that's how, yeah, it is. And then you have to go in here and tell Samba to I really need to get a capture card for all of this. Let's go Control V and scroll down. Can you go from the top? Okay, yeah, here's it is. So I'm gonna go make a new one with a different name, and you can see. Let's move the camera right now. You could see, here's how you set up the shares. You tell it which users you can use and everything. If it's read or writable. If you want, you could set up a lot of permissions, but since I'm the only one using it, I don't really care. This is kind of my personal file server, not kind of the server for everyone to use, so I don't really care about how well permissions are set up. So I'm going to get this set up, and then I will show you how fast I can transfer files. Okay, and for testing the speed of it, I'm going to copy this 7.2 gigabyte file over the network onto an SSD. Near the copy messages here, it's saying 198. I don't know if this is a gigabit network. If we look at that, that's almost filling a gigabit network. It's saying 7880. That's on one drive, and I'm pretty sure that's the limitation of a drive. It does this peaking thing. I think that's how SMB file shares work, but I don't know exactly why it's doing that peaking. But we can see it's transferring files fairly quickly. And it's fairly, so if I put them in a RAID, it would easily transfer and fill that connection like the other server does. Right now, because it has a RAID 5, which easily is faster than these, and this is about how fast these drives transfer files. All we have to do is I have to now put the low file bracket in here. I'm going to get some more drives one day, but I might just stick this in here for now and just kind of have it as like another file system that if I need to junk data on, I can. And yeah, put the low profile bracket back on here, chuck this guy back on here, and one day I'll go and order a few more terabytes of drives. So I'm done working with this server for now, so I cable managed all the wires over here. No, I need to plug it in for it to turn on. Let's do that. You can do this. Good job. And then it should run, and then I'm going to set it up, and it's probably not going to be touched for a little while. Doing some basic file serving and game servers and a few things. And it works, so it's going to be put down on the ground and not touched for a while. Thanks for watching this video, and if you liked it, please like the video, and please subscribe if you like. Bye.